If you guys can hear me, please give me a thumbs up on the chat box. I hope my volume is coming out okay. I hope. So give me a thumbs up, guys. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up on the chat box. Just want to make sure that you guys can hear me before I say any other thing. All right. Thank you so much, Natalia. Loud and clear. All right. How's it going, guys? Hope y'all are doing great. This is E-Vlog coming live. It's been a while I have said that. This is E-Vlog coming to you live, and welcome back on the stream. Now, today I will be discussing Castlevania Nocturne Season 2. This will be a review and a discussion. And I will be talking about the characters, the show itself, the characters, and how well they were utilized, or if they were not utilized properly on the show. Now, I will also leave my Discord open should any one of you feel the need to come into the stream, or to come talk to me, or to call in through Discord or through Facebook Messenger. You are totally free to come in and chime in on what you think on Castlevania Nocturne. You can come in, you can call me through Discord. The link is in the description. My ID should be there too. You can call in to give me your take on what you think on Castlevania Nocturne, or what you think of my opinion of what I'm going to say. So be there be there as it may be. Welcome to the stream. So Castlevania overall, I'm talking about Castlevania Nocturne overall, the show was pretty good. I really liked it, especially it being the second season. It was a good take, and there were unanswered questions that are still questions that are yet to be answered on Castlevania Nocturne, especially being a fan that has watched Castlevania from the first Castlevania, the original Castlevania, all the way to Nocturne. There are still unanswered questions. There are still things that were not really explained. It wasn't explained on season 1 on Castlevania Nocturne, and now on season 2 it was not explained on Castlevania Nocturne season 2. Those are the things that I will be discussing right here. So please do participate as much as you can, and we're gonna have a good time. I know I don't stream a lot. I normally record and upload my videos normally, but if this goes well, it might be something I would like to do in the future, especially if there is a season of anime and that season ends. I would like to give my review and my thoughts, and have you guys also chime in to let me know on what you think about it, because Bleach just ended a couple of weeks ago. Blue Lock just ended. Those are anime that I would like to take on and do a review, and have you guys chime in and give me your thoughts on it. So let's get right back to Castlevania. The first character that I would like to discuss right now will be our boy Alucard. Okay. Alucard is actually one of my, if not my favorite character on Castlevania overall. Of course, if I want to go back to Castlevania, the original Castlevania, I will also say Travel Belmont is also one of my favorite characters, with his character, the way he portrays himself and his ideology, but Alucard is one of my favorite characters. Now, I will say that the way he was portrayed, the way he was utilized was okay, but I will be mistaken if I tell you guys that I am too excitedly impressed on the way Alucard was used. Why did I say this? Well, after the defeat of Death, Alucard and Belmont reunited with Cypher and everything, and Alucard was sitting on top of what I will call a gold mine. All right, Alucard was sitting, I think I talked about this on my review, the trailer reaction review, which I told you guys to go check out. And my review on Castlevania Season 2, after I watched the last episode, episode 8, I did do a couple of reviews, but this time I will have more time and more room to break it down the way I would like to. Alucard was sitting on a gold mine on Castlevania after the defeat of Death. What are those gold mines? Well, those gold mines, for one, is Dracula's castle. Alucard has the ability to reside in Castlevania castle, in Dracula's castle, which of course he is the son of Dracula. And Alucard was also sitting on top of the knowledge of the Belmonts. And you know, Belmonts, they dedicate their lives, okay, they dedicate their livelihood on hunting demons and night creatures. You know, monsters, demons, night creatures, that's what they dedicate their lives to. So to stumble up on top of their secret laboratory, or you can call it laboratory, you can call it library, that is quite a gold mine. So Alucard was sitting on top of two gold mines, the knowledge from Dracula, centuries upon centuries of scientists. Because if you guys remember, in the beginning of Castlevania, the original Castlevania, when Dracula's wife, hold on, let me quickly Google her name real quick, because it seems like I forgot. Dracula's wife, Castlevania. Lisa, okay? When Lisa Tepesh, well, she was a brave woman, I will commend her for that. When she walked into Dracula's castle and she found all these scientific knowledge, okay, we were given the site of Dracula's castle at that time, at that particular time when Lisa walked into Dracula's castle. And, you know, all the knowledge from Dracula, all the scientific knowledge, everything that Dracula knows and have kept in his secret chambers, Alucard has access to all these things. And at the same time, he has access to the Belmont laboratory or library. So after all this time, Alucard, being a vampire, half human, but has the ability of a vampire most of the time. He doesn't have to eat nor sleep. So he has enough time to work on, you know, to craft something or to better himself, to improve himself in one way or the other, or to create a serum, or to know how to summon things, which I will commend Alucard towards the end of Castlevania Nocturne Season 2. I will commend him for being able to summon a meteorite, a small meteorite, and that's courtesy of Dracula. I think we've seen Dracula has performed similar feat, but being able, having the knowledge to, and having the room to have all these two knowledge, which Dracula never had the knowledge of Belmont. I thought I was expecting a little bit more from our boy Alucard. I will say though, towards the ending of season 1 of Castlevania Nocturne, when he showed up, I was so excited. I was livid. If you haven't watched the video, please go and watch my reaction video on Castlevania Nocturne season 1, the last episode, when Alucard showed up and stopped Drolta and defeated her. I was so happy that finally we can now get to know. I have so much questions, man. Alucard, where have you been all this time? What have you been doing? What have you learned? How strong have you gotten? You know what I mean? But to see how he was utilized on Castlevania Nocturne season 2, I'm not saying that he was not utilized properly, but I expected much more from him, especially on the last fight. It was almost like Erzsebet was making a mockery of him, or Drolta was making a mockery of Alucard. Even when Alucard went into his berserk mode, his berserk rage, his bloodthirst rage like Camilla, it wasn't that much, seriously. Like, you know what I mean? I was expecting much more. Now, on his defense, you can say, well, that's what the writer wanted to do. That's how they wanted to portray him right now. Because if he overdoes things, if he is able to use every knowledge that he has in his arsenal to defeat Erzsebet, to defeat Drolta, it will not leave our little boy, it will not leave Richter a room to shine. Because if Alucard goes in beast mode, destroys everybody, takes everyone out, what room will Richter have in order to shine, to prove what he can be able to do? Now, on his defense, you can say that, but again, which will lead me to say, on the first episode, when they had the chance to showcase what Alucard has been doing, of course, they showed a little bit of it. He was seeking for Erzsebet's body, but they should have shown us before that. You know what I mean? Before that, after Death was killed, after, you know, he has all this knowledge, he can make use of them. What else was he doing? Striga and Morena are still out there, from what I can understand, because we didn't get to see what Alucard was really doing. The only thing they focused on is Castlevania Nocturne, leading to the mission on finding Sekhmet's body, not Erzsebet, Sekhmet's body, her mommy's body. That's what Alucard was doing. But I would have thought that they will use that opportunity to show us a little bit, at least if they have to make it 9 episodes, just to use 1 episode to show us what Alucard has been doing, how was his life. They don't necessarily have to show Trevor Belmont and Cypher, his wife. They don't have to show him, but I would have loved to know what he was doing. How was he able to utilize all the knowledge that he has in his section? I think that would have made it a little bit more clear on what Alucard has been doing. Now, I would say that his character was utilized, but I'm not heavily impressed because I expected much more from Alucard. And I hope that on the next upcoming season 3, we will get to know more what Alucard was doing all this time. And I would like to see him go on a mission by himself so that we can really get to know what he can be able to do, you know? So that will be it for Alucard for now. I may go back to Alucard as well and talk about him some more, but for now I will leave it to that. The next character that I would like to discuss will be Father Edbert. I would like to discuss Father Edbert. Now, I know Father Edbert might not be everyone's favorite character on Castlevania Nocturne, but the reason why his character is interesting to me is simply because he was the one making night creatures. Okay? He was the one making night creatures for Erzsebet and Drolta, the question that I have is, or one of the questions that I have is, how did he get those weapons? The weapon that he got, did he stumble upon it? How was he able to manufacture and create something so ominous or something so abominacious machine to be making night creatures? I don't think they gave us a breakdown on how Father Edbert came to possess or create. Where did he get the knowledge? Because the only person we knew or we know that was doing that on Castlevania was Isaac. Isaac was the one using his abilities, his powers to help Dracula to make night creatures. Isaac was the only one doing it. And when Dracula was defeated, courtesy of Trevor Belmont and Alucard and Cypher, of course, Isaac hated Camilla. He hated her so much that he didn't want to work for her. So to equal the playing field, to equal the fighting field, Isaac had to use his night creatures to give him a better fighting chance to defeat Camilla. I would say if it was not for those night creatures Isaac had with him, I don't think he would have been able to defeat Camilla, because Camilla was a badass. I'll give it to her, and she was a great villain, right? He was a solidified villain. If she had able to obtain her goals, what she was gunning for, she was a super villain. So Isaac had to use the night creatures to defeat her. So after Camilla was defeated, Isaac and Richter had a conversation, and Isaac said that he's going to try to use his powers for good, or I think he said something in the line, he's gonna have to stay still and watch the world, how the world is gonna go. And that ended it there, which again I'm going to refer, how did his weapon, what happened to his weapon? Who stumbled upon it to make a big factory like Father Edbert made to use that weapon? Because if you pay attention, when dead soldiers or dead human beings were dragged into or tossed into that machine, the light that glows resembles the same glow that Isaac's sword makes. Right? The light that shines out of that machine resembles the same one. It has the same reaction as Isaac's sword. So after Isaac, what happened? Which also will lead me to, what about Striga and Morena? Because Striga and Morena knows who defeated their sister, or one of their sister. They know it was Isaac that did it. They knew. So did they came back, or did they somehow engaged in a combat, in a furious combat with Isaac, and they were able to obtain his weapon? Because ain't no way Father Edbert could have came up with that technology. At least with Isaac, it's a sword, but Edbert, to construct that type of technology, who gave him that ability? Like, you know what I mean? Because Morena and Striga could not do it themselves. It takes a swordsman or someone like Isaac to be able to make such a weapon, which will also lead me once again to Dracula's castle. Where did that knowledge came from? Could he have come from Dracula's castle, or someone stumbled into the Belmont library and got that information? How did that information came to be? Now, Father Edbert believed that he can fight evil for evil, because in his head, he believed that if I can make enough night creatures, if I can be able to supply enough night creatures for Edbert and Drolta, So long as I'm in charge of them, I have nothing to fear about. I have nothing to worry about. My family, my daughter will totally be fine, right? But that was where he failed, because it's almost similar to what Isaac did, because after the death of Dracula, he decided to have full control. Of course, he's very loyal to Dracula. Isaac even wanted, or I think it was Hector that wanted to find a way to resurrect Dracula, and Isaac said, no, you don't have to do that, let him rest. So the loyalty for Isaac, and now when he made his night creatures, he had full control. Father Edbert had full control of his night creatures, but not to the point not after he started messing with Erzsebet and Drolta. Those two are too smart, which I will talk about in a moment. Erzsebet and Drolta, they are literally compatible characters. You can't really have one without the other. When you have one without the other, they will lose, or the person will lose. They need each other. So Edbert was he was, let me say, fighting evil for evil, and in the end he bit him in the behind. And I understand why his daughter Maria had to do what she felt was right to do, even though it was wrong. I understand why Maria had to do it. It could have done another way. I don't think killing him was the best, because he could have been captured, right? Maria could have had Jitsu capture Father Edbert, go lock him up somewhere that Erzsebet or anybody will be able to find him in the meantime, so that they can be able to deal with the main problem, which is Erzsebet and Drolta. I don't think it was necessary to defeat him, unless if they have somebody else who may take up Father Edbert's place on the next season. Because the reason, another reason why his character was utilized properly, is because he was the one that was making those nice creatures. Erzsebet and Drolta wouldn't have been able to have enough manpower to do the type of damage that they did, but with Edbert aiding them, supplying them with more night creatures, they were, and on top of that, they were making vampires at the same time on the down low. Because if you remember on Castlevania Nocturne Season 2, when Alucard went into, I think it was Alucard and Richter and Annette went into a hole, there is an undertunnel house or undertunnel chamber, and you can see all the skulls, how many people that has been killed and nobody knew about it. Is, let me just say that it was a vampire hive. Okay, it was a vampire hive, and I don't think those vampires were that loyal to Erzsebet, but for the fact that they still exist still makes Erzsebet powerful, for the fact that those vampires existed. So Father Edbert's being able to create these night creatures made things worse, and he gave room to, to give the fighters something to look forward to. He created the Destitute to find a resolve and to defeat Erzsebet as soon as possible. Father Edbert thought that with his night creatures, one day he will have the power to defeat Erzsebet, but he didn't understand that Erzsebet and Drolta have other intentions, greater intentions in mind. If you watch Father Edbert's reaction when Erzsebet told him, "You must bring Drolta back," Erzsebet at first thought that Drolta was gone. She has lost hope. She was literally mourning her. But when Father Edbert came and gave her the idea, Erzsebet said, "Wait a minute. if you're making these things, you can bring her back, can't you? And if you bring her back, most likely her soul, her mind will still be in there. And Erzsebet first, for the Edbert, to bring back her companion, or let me say her second in command, Drolta. And when Drolta was being brought back, you could see the reaction on Father Edbert's face. He was shedding tears because he knows this woman is already strong before. Giving her this type of power, bringing her back, it will not only make her more powerful, but it will make her more destructive. And which he did. Because Drolta, having the ability to go out in the sun, she used that ability effectively. And actually, it was one of the reasons why the Revolutionary Army could not do anything. They were not able to set up their camp, organize themselves properly during the daylight, so that at nighttime they can go take on the night creatures and the vampires. So Father Edbert, being able to use his machine, or that machine of his, gave rise to the Revolutionary Army not able to mount any solid attack or any solid defense, because given his machine gave Drolta more power, more ability, and make her even more contagious and more dangerous, right? So let me go to the comment section real quick and see what you guys are saying over there. Okay, while we are at this, I'm going to set up a goal. I'm going to set up a goal. The goal is, let me read it out. This will be a super chat goal. If we get in the next, let me say in the next 30 minutes, if we are able to get 5 people on super chat that will use super chat, I will react to your favorite Castlevania fight. Your favorite fight on Castlevania, or Naruto, Kengan Ashura, or Baki with no sound. Okay, if we hit 5 super chats, I will do a reaction on one of your favorite fights on any one of these animes. So I have set it up. I have created it. All we need is 5 super chats, ladies and gentlemen. 5 super chats. So on super chat, who taught Lisa science? Yes. Dracula taught Lisa science. Dracula he taught her science, but Lisa was not even able to use that science for long term because she was killed, she was destroyed, she was burned alive, which drove Dracula into a bloodthirst raging monster. You know, it drove Dracula crazy when she was murdered. So the next person, the next character that I would like to discuss will be Mizra. Now, Mizra played his role perfectly. Okay, I would say Mizra played his role perfectly. Now that he's been turned, you guys know from what I understood, Erzsebet turned. Actually, you know what? Wait a minute. Before I talk about Mizra, let me talk about Erzsebet and Drolta. Let me address those two. Now, Erzsebet and Drolta, like I've been saying, those two polish each other evilness. Those two are, when those two work together, they are almost unstoppable. They polish each other's evilness. They polish each other's wit. When one is falling behind, the other brings the other one back up so that they can continue their evilness. Now, this whole time, we did not know that it was actually Drolta. She has been the one that's been making these plays for this long. And I like the fact that they were able to show us Drolta's beginning, how she came up. She used to be a priestess that used to pray at the temple, and for some particular reason, vampires attacked that temple. Again, goes back to show what happened, or goes back to what I said in the beginning, what happened after Camilla was defeated. What happened? Striga and Morena, they said they're gonna go raise their own army. From what I can understand, those two, their combination together, you guys saw the amount of army they had together, they had on their arsenal. What were they doing? Because this story needs to be answered, because leaving that story unanswered, I don't think it's going to deliver perfectly to me. That story, those two, what were they doing? Those two, what did they do afterwards? Were they able to raise their army, or were they able to summon something? Like, what happened to Striga and Morena? That question needs to be answered. And for the fact that they keep bringing more seasons, leaving these two, what happened to them unanswered, it kind of doesn't edify Castlevania to some degree. But I don't care what happens to Hector. You know, Hector, Isaac, both of them are humans, right? They can't live forever. But Striga and Morena, if they are not killed, what happened to them? Because we know vampires barely age. And again, there's this saying that goes, once your maker is dead or something. I'm not sure if the same rule applies to the vampires on Castlevania. Once your maker is killed, you are now free or something like that. You're liberated. Because if that's the case, then Lisa, no, not Lisa. What's her name again? Castlevania. Lisa's mother is who I want to talk about. Give me a moment. Tera should have been liberated, but towards the ending of Castlevania Nocturne Season 2, she was still a vampire, right? Which I will talk about her in a moment. So Drolta and Erzsebet. Drolta, like I said before, I like how they showed us her story. Now it makes sense. You know what I mean? After Season 1, on Season 2, they showed us the story behind Drolta. How she came up to be. What triggered her to do what she did. What about Edbert? They showed it as well. It was Drolta that turned Edbert to become the conduit of Sekhmet. And I like the fact they showed us Edbert's character before she was turned. Oh my goodness, I liked it. Like those small things, those small dialogue before the turning, it mattered a lot. Because before Edbert was turned, you could see that she is already a bad person. She's already a terrible person to begin with. And the ego, right? When Drolta told her, oh, you're going to be the conduit of Sekhmet, can you be able to wield such power? Can you be able to withstand the pressure of this power? She did, like the way she responded, you could see, and which was what gave Drolta the confidence that Edbert is and will be the rightful person to be a conduit for Sekhmet's for all three Sekhmet's spirits being or coming to fruition. So those two, they polished each other. But again, evil has no loyalty. Okay, towards the end, I like the way it happened between them. Evil has no loyalty. In the end, Drolta sees that Erzsebet can no longer fulfill their mission, and Drolta betrayed her. But if those two had left and went out there to regroup their powers, they would have came back stronger. But due to the fact that evil has no loyalty, Drolta betrayed Erzsebet and took on to be the conduit of Sekhmet's spirit. Of course, it didn't work because already by the time she had done that, Erzsebet has already been weakened to the point that Erzsebet's essence has already given up, pretty much, you know. So the next character that I would like to discuss will be Annette. Annette, her character was utilized properly. I really liked it from season 1 all the way to season 2 and where we currently are. Her being able to, know where she came from, her struggles, and her embodying the suffering of her people, embodying the spirit of her people, embodying a lot from her history, played a fantastic role on this show. And as you can see, even though that when she went to speak to Sekhmet, her body could not withstand the pressure of Sekhmet's third spirit. But that's where, if it wasn't for Richter, I don't think she would have been able to get it done. But I like the fact that she was utilized properly, and the fact that they gave a little bit of history on the origin, because people that grew up watching Thor, and most of the characters, I would say this, you can check me on it, that is totally fine. Most of Marvel characters are actually originated from African characters, because we got to see Ogun. For most of you guys who may not know the history of Ogun is a spirit, and in the African culture, he symbolizes strength, he symbolizes great power, and one of his favorite weapons that he uses is hammer and a machete. And I like the fact that they brought that into this show, and it also gave meaning to Annette and her embodying the struggle of her people and going back to speak to her ancestors and going to the spirit realm to speak to a greater power, a greater spirit than the teacher that was training her in the spiritual realm. He also made the show he also edified her role on this show. Now, the next character, let me check the live stream here. They got married and had Olrox. Wait a minute. Who got married and had Olrox? Anyways, so the next character that I would like to discuss now will be Lisa and Maria. Lisa and Maria, mother and daughter, daughter and mother. Lisa's character, which I would say to this point, she didn't have much going for her, but on the next season, there will be a lot that will be going for her, because all this time she knew what her baby father, what Father Edbert has been doing, and of course she tried the best she could to speak some sense into him. But Father Edbert believed that if it wasn't like there's already chaos in the world. Again, which is the reason why I won't knock Father Edbert too much. He already believes that there are evil in the world. There are vampires out there. Even before Erzsebet and Drolta came to Father Edbert, I think there's already night creatures roaming around that Father Edbert did not create. So he believed that in creating his own night creatures, which I'm right, because we talk about Castlevania, there were monsters, there were night creatures, and so there were already monsters and night creatures roaming about, and it was evil times and terrible times. So Father Edbert believed that in creating his own night creatures, he can better protect himself, he can better protect Tera, and he can better protect his daughter, which was the reason why he disagreed to leave that life alone, to leave night creatures alone, to stop doing what he was doing. So Tera at this point didn't have much to do on season 1, and on season 2 she had a little bit much of involvement. I did like her involvement on season 1 towards the ending, because if it wasn't for her, Maria would have been the one who would be turned to be a vampire. And think about it, guys, if Maria was the one that was turned, and it was this close, Erzsebet was this close in turning Maria into a vampire, could you guys imagine how strong Maria would have been? Could you guys imagine the terrible mistake that would have been made? Like if it was Maria that was turned instead of Lisa, I think it would have been over for everybody. It would have been over. She would have probably take on Erzsebet, Drolta, take on everybody and destroy everybody. Because knowing what she can do now, knowing what she's been able to do now, if she was turned into a vampire on season 1, coming to season 2, she would have been more powerful. And I kid you not. You can check me if I'm right or if I'm wrong, but if Maria was the one that was turned into a vampire, it would have been over for everybody because of her hidden powers. And I will tell you this: if Erzsebet or Drolta knew that Maria had this such power within her, I think Erzsebet or Drolta would have hastened to bring Maria to their congregation to keep her in check. But then again, Maria would have ended up killing both of them and taking over and just literally brutally destroying everybody. Because to be able to command such power, to be able to emanate such level of dangerous power that she has, I would say that she will almost be untouchable. When her rage, if she was turned into a vampire, what would have happened is her haste to get used to her power would have been just like that. It would have been so quick. She would have been able to get used to it, and it wouldn't be the good side of her power. It would have been the evil side of her power that she will continue to tap into. If we think that Father Edbert is creating night creatures, the type of night creatures Maria would have been able to summon, it would be 100 times over than what Father Edbert has been able to do all this time. Let me say that again. If Maria was the one that was turned instead of Tera, her mother, her mastering her ability would have been just like that. And she will never tap into the good side, because we saw she ended up tapping into the good side of her ability and using righteousness and love to control her beasts. But if she was turned, it would have been hatred. hatred for humans, hatred for everything, hatred. Like, again, because now she's a vampire, she's going to think like a vampire, she's going to behave like a night creature, she's going to behave like someone who has darkness that resides inside them, and it would have been way more difficult to get through to her at that point. For the Edbert won't be able to get to her, her mother will not be able to get to her. I don't even think Drolta or Erzsebet would be able to get through to Maria and talk sense into her. She would have taken over everything. I kid you not. Because for the fact that she was human, she's human, and be able to tap into her rage to summon such creature. Once her father was destroyed, once she roasted and shish kebabbed her own father, that hate inside her dwindled a bit. And because of that hate inside her dwindled a bit, she lost control of that big, gigantic creature that she summoned. And she wanted the creature to go back inside the darkness or go back inside the portal. The creature looked at it and understood that Maria no longer has power over it, and he started to attack Maria. So if Maria was a vampire, she would have been able to keep tab on the night creatures that she would summon, because with that darkness residing inside her, with the strength of a vampire, with the ability of a vampire, she would have had no weakness in controlling those night creatures. She would have taken over everything. But thank goodness, because if you guys remember, towards the ending of season 1, it was like this, like close to this, before Tera was able to use herself as the person who will be turned instead of her daughter. It was this close. So Tera and Maria, their character was utilized properly, and Maria, if you guys noticed, like I said this before, there's still essence of hate inside her, and Tera, her mother, knows this. Will she try to tap into that hatred once again, or will she go and do her own thing? I'll say that she will try once again, because Maria, it seems like there's still hate inside her, and with that hate is going to if it is not checked, she's going to go berserk again. And Tera herself has the old man Coyote, and the interesting thing about this concept is Tera has no idea what is going on with her. Her senses are starting to change. She's starting to, I remember she had a smile on her face when Maria lost it or something, or when she heard that Maria killed her father. There's this smile on her face. She had a smirk on her face. And towards the ending of Castlevania Nocturne, we see that the conduit, or whatever that is behind her, Old Man Coyote, is going to continue to infuse evil ideas, evil thoughts on Tera, and which brings me to ask this question: how strong is Old Man Coyote? For the fact, what is his origin, which I'm looking forward to see on the next season. How strong is Old Man Coyote? What is his place on Castlevania? Because it was so touching and so evilish when Maria roasted and destroyed her father. Old Man Coyote, it's almost like, I'm not sure if some of you guys have watched Constantine, because I'm into movies like that. If you guys remember when John Constantine was about to die when he cut his wrist, tender wrist, and he was bleeding out. The devil came to collect his soul, and the devil came by his own self. And the devil said, this is a soul that I have to come down to collect myself. And it's not a regular collection. This one is dragging both your body, your physical body, and your soul to the underworld. Basically, it was like I'm not sure if you guys on this I'm even getting goosebumps right now as I'm talking about it, because I'm into vampire movies, creatures, I'm into those kind of stuff, good and evil, angels and demons. I'm into concept of those type of movies. Now, if you have watched Constantine, which I hope that they're going to make a second one. I heard that there are works on that movie, Constantine. They're going to make a second one. I hope they do, because it's been long overdue. Okay, let me look at the chats for a bit. Now, guys, I set up a super chat goals. If we are able to hit these goals, I will do a reaction on either a fight on Castlevania, your favorite fight on Castlevania, or other animes that I have listed. I will do your favorite fights on them with no sound, because you guys know how copyright works. Or if you guys want, I will give you guys fitness advice if you're looking to improve your fitness lifestyle. I know it's a new year, new year resolution. Some of you guys want to get in shape and be better, whether if you want to lose weight, gain muscle, or if you want to do a little bit of both. I will be happy to give you guys a fitness advice. Or if you want to do martial arts and you want to know which area of martial arts that you want to go to, I will, because I dabbled into martial arts before, so I kind of have an idea. So just 5 super chats, ladies and gentlemen. If I'm able to hit this goal, I will definitely give you guys extra content. Okay, I will give you guys extra content. And if you want to speak to me, or if you want to talk, give your thoughts, laugh right now, I am currently on Discord. My server link is in the description. You can call in on Discord and you can give me your thoughts live, and we can chat and discuss about what I'm talking about, Castlevania Nocturne, and you can give me your real input on what you think about the show and what you think about my opinion. Okay, so the next person that I would like to talk about, let me see here. Oh, yeah, let me talk more about Maria and Tera, her mother. So these two are going to be a problem somehow if Maria's hatred is not checked. I believe that Tera can still have her way on her, especially with Old Man Coyote, which I'm not sure what is Old Man Coyote all about. What is his intention? Why did he came and dragged the body of Father Edbert to the underworld? Who is Old Man Coyote? Because when Olrox burned that book, Olrox said before he burnt, you have no reason to be here. I don't understand why you're here. You have no reason to be here. And he burnt a book. He threw a book in the fire, which didn't make a lot of things clear. Was Old Man Coyote summoned? Because Olrox knows who Old Man Coyote is. Olrox knows who Old Man Coyote is. He understands who he is. He knows who he is. I know. And again, due to the fact that there wasn't much that were explained about Old Man Coyote, is going to set a good precedent on the next upcoming season on what is going to happen, how much damage Old Man Coyote is going to do. Who is he? What's his origin? Why is he here? What take or what stake does he have on this show? Does he have anything to be related? Is he related to Death? Because remember, on Castlevania, Death was defeated thanks to Trevor Belmont. Why is he here? So it's gonna be interesting to see what's gonna happen on the next season. And the reason why I keep talking about Tera and Maria is because, like I said, if Maria is turned into a vampire or it is turned into anything, and you know, there is a high chances that can still be done. There is a high chance that can still be done. Now, I know some of you may say, oh, that can never happen. That will never ever happen. But if you remember, Maria still misses her mother. The scene where Tera had to leave Maria because she can sense, she understands that her presence, the evil that resides in her, is starting to corrupt her daughter. It's starting to snare its way and smear its way into her daughter's heart, into her daughter's essence. Maria was able to understand it, and because of that, she does not want Maria to go into the same path that she has gone to. But with Old Man Coyote pulling the plugs now, could she still have her way inside her daughter's heart and be able to continue to turn her daughter into the person that we saw, the evil side of her? Or will Tera turn Maria into a vampire in order to help Old Man Coyote? Now, that is still to be said, but with that type of laugh, with that smile on Old Man Coyote's face, I'm gonna tell you right now, he has everything planned. He can see his vision, and he is smiling upon his vision, and he knows what he's going to do next. So, Tera and Maria, their character, they were well placed. Their characters were utilized properly. Okay. Now, the next person I would like to talk about is Olrox. Olrox knows Old Man Coyote. Due to the fact that we're going to have another season, I'm not gonna knock them on the fact that they did not explain who Old Man Coyote really is on season 2. I'm not gonna knock them for that because we're getting another season, I think. And the book Olrox burned. What is inside that book? What type of evilness? What type of, what information resides into that book? What is that book all about? Is it a book to summon something? Is it what kind of book? Why did he burn it? I think I might go back again. I might rewatch that scene. Olrox burnt that book and understand or try to make sense why he burnt that book. Because that book must be a book to do some evilness, some evil things. Or could it be a book that gave for the Edbert to ability to build such evil machine, to be able to turn humans into night creatures? Could that book contain the information to do it? And if it does contain the knowledge on how to build night or how to create night creatures, where did Father Edbert get that book, which will also take me right back to my first issue that I have, why they didn't show what Alucard was doing. Who gave Father Edbert such knowledge? How did he get it? Because it seems like that book may contain that information on how to create night creatures. And if it is so, how did Father Edbert stumble upon it? Who gave him that book? Could it be Striger? Could it be Morena? Could it be, or did he steal it from Belmont's library? Who gave it to him? How did he get it? How was he able to build night creature machine on making night creatures? I mean, how did he get the knowledge? Because that's extensive and let me say, how do people put it? It's above your pay grade. That is such an information that is above people's pay grade. How was he able to obtain such knowledge? Or was it given to him by Old Man Coyote? Who knows? Was Old Man Coyote behind everything that has been happening after Death was defeated? Could Old Man Coyote be Death himself? Because you guys remember, he was defeated thanks to Trevor Belmont. Or was he really defeated? You know what I mean? Because if you remember Death, if I recall correctly, when Trevor Belmont was fighting Death, or before he fought Death, he portrayed himself as a regular human being. When Death was roaming about, pushing buttons, creating evil, or making people, like, Death has been involved this whole time, right? When we didn't know. If you guys remember on Castle, before Death actually showed his true self, what he's really all about, he was a regular vampire. He was a regular cheeky vampire, and we didn't know what that character was all about. We didn't know what is his take on all of this. Why do we keep seeing this vampire that we know that even Trevor Belmont or Cypher Belmont can easily take on and kill? Why does this vampire keep showing up? What's his take on this? How powerful is he? We were all wondering the same thing. Not until he showed his true self and revealed himself as Death. Right? Revealed himself as Death. Because they were trying to stop this machine, or they were interfering with Death's business, and Death tried to stop them and to stop Trevor Belmont, and Trevor Belmont defeated him. So are we going to see the same thing on Castlevania Nocturne Season 2? Could Old Man Coyote be Death himself? That question, I don't know. And I like the fact that after Erzsebet and Drolta were defeated, I like the interaction between Olrox and Richter. Richter looked at Olrox dead in the eyes and told him, "I still haven't forgotten about you." Like something in that line, "I still haven't forgotten about you. I still remember what you did to me. I still remember that you killed my mother. We still have a score to settle. But it will not be today." And thanks to Olrox, because Olrox, his involvement as well helped heavily in defeating Drolta. Because if it wasn't for Olrox getting involved, Alucard would have been, I guess, we have to know what Alucard has been doing. Alucard, we need to know how strong he truly is, because I don't think they did him worthy with his fight with Drolta. I don't think they did him worthy at all. He was able to summon a small meteorite, that is cool and all, but I know living for that long, having the ability to have the knowledge of your father, the knowledge of Belmonts together, You got to be able to do and not even if he doesn't have knowledge of that, because we know from what we've been told, the more vampires live, the more stronger they are. You know what I mean? The more they live, the more they fight, the more they the more they train, the more stronger they are. Right? So I'm expecting a lot more from Alucard. I know we have a youngin like Richter Belmont. If anything, the show is actually about Richter Belmont. I know it's not about Alucard, but Alucard has a strong presence on the show. Although it's about Richter Belmont, I would say it's also about Alucard, because you can't have one without the other. It's what helps to make the show. It's what helps the show a lot. They didn't do Alucard worthy like I was planning to see on this season, and I hope on the next season they will do him worthy. I want him to go on a mission of his own, or for them to show us what he's been doing, how strong he has gotten. Olrox has lived for a very long time. I'm not even sure. Okay, I'm not sure how old Olrox is, but the question that I have is, does Olrox know about Dracula? Because I know he told Mizra, I believe, when he was a human, when he was turned into a vampire, So how old is he? Was he turned into a vampire by Dracula in the past, or was he turned into a vampire by somebody else? They showed us how Drolta was turned into a vampire, her humble beginnings, how she turned into a vampire. I think it will also do justice if they show us a little bit more about Olrox, what made him, how he was turned into a vampire. I think they need to give us that story too. I'm not sure if they will do that in the end, but we need to know how Olrox became who he is. It will absolutely make sense, okay? And now that I've talked about Olrox, let me quickly go to the chat and see what you guys are saying over there. Yes, Natalie, I totally understand where you're coming from. That could be another possibility. That could actually be another possibility if Olrox, or if Old Man Coyote offered Olrox a deal when his previous lover was killed. That I do not know. But I hope that they show us on the next season, because this is a big questions that I have here. We need to see how Olrox was turned into a vampire, his humble beginnings, and we need to know, how does Olrox know about Old Man Coyote? Because Olrox knows who Old Man Coyote is, and understand what Old Man Coyote is all about. Olrox wasn't scared of Old Man Coyote in any way, shape, or form. He didn't wonder, who is this being? Who is this person? He knew who Old Man Coyote is. So how did he know? Was Old Man Coyote the person that turned Olrox? Or what deal do they have together? And which will lead me to the next person that I want to talk about, Mizra. Mizra from day one despised, even though him and Olrox like each other. But deep down within himself, he despised vampires. He despised what Olrox is. But unfortunately, he just can't help himself. Now, Mizra has been turned into a vampire by Olrox. Will he totally be willing to do, like, you know how when you turn into a vampire, you become that vampire's slave almost. I don't think that's the case on this show, because when Erzsebet turned Tera into a vampire, Tera still wants to destroy Edbert. So there's no loyalty here, and which is what I like about this show, right? Tera wanted to destroy Edbert. She's not loyal to Erzsebet in any way, shape, or form, which is the reason why when Erzsebet was defeated or was killed, Lisa did not die with her or something. So knowing that now that Mizra has been turned into a vampire, will he be loyal to Olrox? Because remember, from day one, he didn't really like vampire all that much, except that he has a lover who is vampire. And when Olrox decided not to help them in defeating Edbert, which I don't really understand why Olrox doesn't want to. Maybe he felt that Drolta and Edbert are too powerful for him to handle. He doesn't want to get involved. When he decided not to get involved and help Mizra despised him for it. Mizra hated him for it, right? And even when Olrox bit Mizra said, "Oh God!" Like, he wanted to reject it. Like he reacted that I really don't want this. I don't want this. This is not really what I want. I don't want this. I don't want to be a vampire. I just want to. Of course, he felt bad that he's dying, but at the same time, I don't think Mizra truly wants to be a vampire. That's not what he wanted. Olrox decided, I don't want to lose you. You've been my companion for quite some time. It burns me to see you die, knowing that I can do something about it to change the course of your dying, for you to be a vampire. If I can help it, why would I allow you to die? So Olrox bit Mizra, turning him into a vampire. And when we saw Mizra, the look on his face, he looks pretty scary. He looks pretty badass in a way. But the question now remains, will he be loyal to Olrox, or will he have his own agenda? That I do not know. Will Mizra have his own agenda, or will he despise human now that he's a vampire? I don't think he would despise human, because he does. Remember, his work, he believes in the creator. He believes in a higher power, and his cause helping Father Edbert, because he believed in Father Edbert's dream somehow to use evil to fight evil. Although Mizra tried many times. Even there was a point when Drolta when Drolta went to fight the revolution soldiers, Mizra could not stand Drolta. He couldn't stand the fact that this is happening. How is this bad woman? How is this woman fighting? Why did she come out during daylight? What is her business? How did she obtain this power to come in the daylight? Right? Mizra wanted to go and fight Drolta, but Olrox, knowing what would probably happen, stopped Mizra. And Mizra looked at him and said, "Why did you?" I think in the line of, "Why are you not helping us? Why are you picking a side? Why are you working for Edbert? And now you've been branded," all these things. Olrox kind of saved Mizra, because had Mizra tried to fight Drolta would love she would have enjoyed killing Mizrak, and especially knowing that Mizrak and Olrox, they have something going on between the two. And if you guys remember, it was Drolta that gave Erzsebet the idea to brand Olrox. That woman is so evil, man. Drolta is so evil, and she wasn't even like that from the get go. She was such a nice prince or priestess or princess or something. She was a good person, but due to the fact that her people went through some devastating attack, I think it turned her heart from good to evil before she even drank the blood of that vampire, right? She went through a lot. She saw her people get murdered, get eaten by night creatures and vampires. So she turned evil even before becoming evil. But damn, man, that woman is evil, man. That woman is evil to the core. Drolta, she is, and we didn't know this all this time, that she was actually the one who has been pushing all this button. She was one that turned Edbert into a vampire. Anyways, so Mizrak, yes, I'm looking forward to see what his character is going to be, what his involvement on the next season is going to be all about. Is he going to be loyal to Olrox, or will he be against Olrox? Okay. Now the next character I want to discuss about will be Richter Belmont. Richter Belmont. Let me just say that I am pleased. I am pleased. I'm not saying was. I am still pleased. His fight with Drolta. That fight, was it Drolta? Yeah, it was Drolta. Right? Was it Drolta or Edbert? I forgot now. That fight, it was simply badass. The art of the fight, the pace of the fight, the animation of the fight, the energy of the fight was just on point. While I was watching that fight, I was getting flashbacks on all types of animes that I have watched. I was getting flashback upon flashbacks. That was a badass fight. I never thought that Richter will be this strong. I never thought he's going to be this strong. I mean, damn, he took a punch a couple of times without phasing. He took a couple of punches head on, and it did not phase him. And remember, Richter is a human being. He's not a vampire. He doesn't have any suit. Well, he has magic powers, courtesy of Cypher. His late maybe grandparents, because he's a descendant of Trevor Belmont and Cypher Belmont. So he has magic powers, but that's it. That is it. What could, watching, I know Trevor Belmont was strong, but he's not strong to this extent. I mean, okay, Trevor Belmont fought dead. I'll give him that. I'm not gonna put Richter Belmont and compare him to Trevor Belmont. Trevor Belmont faced Dracula. He faced death himself. So I'm not gonna compare Richter right now to Trevor Belmont, but god damn, man, damn, that fight was an amazing fight. I was getting flashback from Dragon Ball Z when Trunks split Mecha Frieza into two. I was getting flashbacks from JoJo's Bizarre when Joino Giovanna was doing muda 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 muda. I was also getting flashbacks, the combination, the teamwork of Richter Belmont and Alucard Tepesh. Their teamwork reminds me of Black Clover, Asta, and Yami. It was such an amazing fight, but seeing how determined Richter Belmont is, the boy does have a good future. I'm not sure if his strength comes from love, which I think that's what it is. Just like Travel Belmont, although Travel Belmont can be an a-hole sometimes, but when it comes down to it, he can put out. He can literally put his body on the line for the people that he cares about, right? But the tolerance of Richter Belmont, how he was able to take on that fight, the sheer will, man, he got my thumbs up, literally. Because at first, we don't really know what on season 1, we thought, he's a descendant of Travel Belmont, and so what, and then he learns how to do magic, and I'm like, okay, all right, okay, let's see how his future is going to be. But to see that fight, that's the type of stuff I was hoping to see Alucard do, ladies and gentlemen, right? And which is the reason why I said Alucard being there is good, but Alucard needs to have a little bit of his own mission too, for us to know what Alucard can do. Because you cannot tell me a human being like Richter Belmont took a couple of hits and punches, took it head on, and it didn't faze him. I haven't seen Alucard's fight thus far. Hey, I like Alucard. He's my favorite character on the show. I don't want to see them waste his abilities. I don't want to see them waste what he can be able to do, because I know what he can be able to do. Somebody who doesn't sleep, has all the time in the whole world to learn, to better himself, to learn, not to have all this knowledge. You know how many knowledge that is inside Alucard's head? How many battles that he's been through? How many vampires he has taken on? How many night creatures he has taken on? So to see how they're utilizing him, it's good, but it's not the best. We need to see what Alucard can really do, because him going into his berserk state, I saw a little meteorite, but that's about it. But I'm looking for a little bit more. I need to see more. Okay, I need to see more Alucard take on stuff. But if he continues to hang around Richter Belmont, we're never going to see it. He needs a fight of his own, a super fight, and a good villain, a worthy villain. And is Drolta a worthy villain? I would say yes, but Alucard couldn't take Drolta by himself, really. Drolta was almost bodying Alucard, yo. Like, this is Alucard we're talking about. The son of Dracula and Lisa Tepesh we're talking about here. Drolta was bodying him. Olrox had to step in to kind of help Alucard a little bit. Right? Like, come on. They better not waste Alucard here. They better not make his character be, oh, we're just gonna have you here to help Richter, and we're gonna downplay you what you can really do. Like, you know how they put a character who we know can do much more, but because we have this star that like, you know what I mean? Like, you guys know what I'm trying to say. Alucard needs to get a show of his own. I don't know why I'm saying this, but he needs to get, maybe they have to make a movie on this. Make a movie on Alucard. After Death was killed, did he go and fight Striga and Morena? If they're not gonna put it on season 3, they should make a separate movie on Alucard. After Death was destroyed, how was he able to take on Striga and Morena? I keep saying this because Striga is a born full-fledged warrior. Like that woman, I will. And again, because I don't know what Striga can be able to do. Because looking at her character, her posture, her body size, that woman, I think, I know Camilla is strong, but Striga is actually the brute of the group. Camilla is more of the, she's like, she's the thinker. She's the one with the brains, right? She is the one with the brains. Camilla knows how to portray herself. She knows how to present herself. She can sit in the room with Dracula and actually put herself in such a way that Dracula will actually see her as someone who can step into the same room with. She can have a conversation with Dracula. She can have a conversation in front of men. She knows how to portray herself, right? Eleanor or Lenore is more of the seducing one, the one who can be used to seduce. Morena is a strategist. Striga, she is the warrior type. She is the brute. It's almost like talking about on Marvel, like Captain America is the brain and Hulk is the brute. Like Hulk is the brute of the strength of the group. Like, you know what I mean? Striga is a warrior. And for the fact we did not get the chance to see what Striga can be able to do, I believe that they kind of let us down. And I'm saying this because I think that Castlevania Nocturne will be the only time, the only chance we can get to, hopefully, see what happened to Striga and Morena. They need to make a show on this or a movie on this. Okay? So, yes, I know what you mean. Yes, he didn't want to be turned into a vampire, but then well, at that position, at that point, there's nothing Mizra can really do because remember, he's weakened, he's bleeding out, he's dying. What can Mizrak really do at that point? Even if he wasn't bleeding, if Olrox wanted to turn him into a vampire, Olrox would do it like this. I don't think Mizrak really had a choice in it. He accepted it because he had no choice. Olrox's strength Olrox is very strong, and we didn't like for the fact that Olrox ended up involving himself in the fight was actually because Mizrak was hurt, right? That was why, because Olrox was gonna leave. He was leaving. He was gonna go back to where he began. But when Mizrak got hurt, I believe that was when Olrox changed his mind and got himself involved in the fight. So, yeah, at that point, Mizrak had no choice. He couldn't say no, he couldn't say yes. He accepted it because there's nothing he could really do. Olrox had full control of what the situation, Olrox had control of what is going on and what will happen at that point. It's almost like when you're dying, when you're bleeding out, you can't even get up, you can't even stand up, you're weakened and you're dying, and someone comes and injects you with a serum that will not only keep you alive, but in return it will turn you into a monster. You know, you have no choice. You can't do anything at that point. So I think that's what happened between Mizrak and Olrox. Mizrak had no choice at that point. He was weakened. He was dying. He's bleeding out. Of course, he doesn't want to die. He doesn't want to die, right? But he had no choice. He had no choice in the matter. Olrox had all the decisions to make. So. Yeah. So I will use this opportunity. I think that's it. That's all I want to talk about. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Um, if you have any questions or thoughts about what I said, you can feel free to comment or call in on Discord and um, shine in on my perspective and what I said. Um, I'm not sure in the future if I will make streams like this. I think it's good to talk about, do a review like this, because when I'm recording and I'm watching the show and I'm giving my thoughts, I don't really have the room to expand my thoughts because I'm trying to talk as much as I can to not make the video any longer. But in a session like this, I have the room to expand my thoughts and expand my reviews. So I'm not sure if this is a good thing to make videos like this, but hey, maybe I will, because Bleach Thousand Year Blood War just finished. Blue Lock just finished, and I'm not sure, I might make a review on those animes at some point. Or uh, if you guys have any discussion that you want me to shine in and give my thoughts on anime, you can let me know as well. And if it is something that I think that will require me to stream live and have you guys shine in and give your thoughts and we can chat it up and discuss about it, you can let me know as well. So yeah, so I'm hoping that on the next season they're going to make us proud, because all these unanswered questions, hopefully they will be answered on the next season, or give us a movie on Alucard, what he's been doing. I forgot to talk about Dracula and Lisa Tepesh. They're still alive, right? We know that. Dracula and Lisa are still alive. During the conversation, during the first season and the second season of Castlevania Nocturne, Alucard never mentioned about Dracula. I'm not sure, and I think he's not aware that his father and mother are still alive. And they've decided to take a back seat and watch their son help the world. Could that be the case? Is that why we haven't seen Dracula nor Lisa Tepesh ever since the first arc, Castlevania? Because they are returned and they are alive. And Lisa actually wanted to go say hi to their son, Alucard. Or was it Dracula that suggested to go see their son, and one of them said, that can wait, let's just sit back and enjoy the time we have together. Now we know Lisa is not a vampire, so she doesn't have all day, she doesn't have all the years to wait, unless she's been turned into a vampire. Because them knowing that, because for the fact she said we can let that can wait for now, woman, you don't have that time, you don't have that leisure of time to be waiting. You can get sick and die, right? Unless if Lisa has also become a vampire herself. So if that's the case, then they have all the time in the world to wait and see. Because if you, from after Travel Belmont and Cypher, it's been like what, 30 years or 40 years has passed. Actually, it's more than that, because Jitsu, um, I believe Richter's Richter is a descendant of Lisa. Lisa is a descendant from Jitsu because Jitsu is her father. Jitsu, I believe, is the true descendant, is the descendant of, if I'm not mistaken, direct descendant from Cypher and Travel Belmont. If I'm not mistaken, Jitsu is the direct descendant of Travel Belmont and Cypher Belmont. And if that is the case, it's been, I would say, from the time when their son is born, and then looking at how old Jitsu is, he looks like he's in his 60s or probably 70 or 80s, I don't know, because he looks pretty old. And then we count in how old his daughter is, and then we count in how old Richter is at this point. That's over 100 years. Is Lisa able to wait for 100 years to go see their son, Alucard? She doesn't have that luxury. Dracula has that luxury, unless if Lisa was a vampire by the time her and Dracula came out and we saw them and they lodged into a hotel to rest. Unless she's a vampire, knowing how humans live, Lisa does not have 100 years or over 100 years to wait to go see their son, Dracula. To go see their son, Alucard. So what is really going on? Are we ever going to see those two, or that is the end? We're never going to see Dracula again. We're never going to see his involvement again. We're never going to see his wife Lisa again. Their time has came and gone. But even though that is the case, Dracula is still a vampire, which means he's still alive. He may be quiet about it. He may be low-key living his life undetected. He's still alive at the end of the day. Whether Lisa is there or not, Dracula is still alive. So, are we ever going to see him again? That question, I don't know. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me on this live stream. I think we've gone on for, how long has this stream been? This stream has been 1 hour and 37 minutes. I'm gonna wait for 5 minutes to see if you guys have any other topic or any other conversation or something you guys might like to talk about. I don't think I'll wait for 5 minutes. I'll wait for 2 more minutes to see if you guys have any other discussion. If not, I will bid you guys good night and hope to see you in the next video. So charm in your thoughts, charm in your ideas on what you have, your thoughts on what I said. If we are ever going to see Dracula once again, are they going to give us a movie on Alucard before running into Richter? What has he been doing? Are they going to give us a movie on Striga and Morena? Because those two were alive on the last arc, Castlevania. So all these questions I would like to know, because leaving them unanswered, it's not gonna, it's not setting a good precedence for Castlevania overall. And yeah. All right, guys. On that note, stay safe. Keep on keeping on. See you in the next video.